my next class has to start with 3. And it still has to have 3 numbers in it. So 3, 4, 5, it needs to be 3 through 5. So what's the next class start with? 6. And it goes through 8. And the next one?
9.
No, it still has to be the same width. So I have to include to 11. 9, 10, 11. Even though there's only one 9, and there's 9, 10s, or 11s, the classes have to be the same width. So I can't have one just being of one number. They can't overlap. So if I end at 2 on one, I have to start at 3. And then that makes number 3 work. So each piece of data would never belong to more than one class. So 3 to 5 would be 21. 6 to 8 would be 5. Next one's 1. And I just got those by adding up those numbers. Lower class limits are these first numbers. Oh, it's not letting me highlight them. It's these first numbers. Those are my lower class limits. On the first one we didn't really have a lower and an upper class limit because it was just one number. But if it's more than one number, the lower number is obviously the lower class limit. And the higher number is going to be the upper class limits. So both of these frequency distributions give the exact same information. Let's just carry it out in a different way. One's a little more detailed. The first one is more detailed than the other. Couple more definitions. Okay, so the modal class, think of it as like the mode. The mode is the number that occurs the most often. So the modal class, like if I'm talking about here, the modal class would be 2. Because 18 is the biggest one. For this one, the modal class would be 0 to 2. Because 37 is the biggest one. And you can have more than one mode if there's 2 of them that were both the highest. The class mark we're going to use when we go to graph some of this stuff. It's the midpoint of a class. So let's say we're talking about the class 6 to 8. If we wanted to find the class mark, well, it's the number in the middle. So obviously it's 7, right? But if there were numbers that you couldn't just look at and find the number in the middle, all it is you take the 2 numbers, you add them, and you divide by 2. That would be the class mark. And that's going to be helpful, when, like I said, when we go to graph this, because we wouldn't list the whole thing 6 to 8, we would just put the 7 there. It just makes it easier to graph. Okay, here's some numbers that we're going to use. We'll come up with this data in a minute. Like I said, I color-coded it so it'd be easier. And we're going to do a table of frequency distribution, and the first class is going to be 78 to 86. So go ahead and write this table. And just put it in the first row, 78 to 86. And these are IQs of 50 sixth grade students. You with me, Bobby? So the next one's going to start at what number? 87, because they can't overlap. And then notice, from here to here, how many numbers did I add? Now that's not the width, but how many numbers did I add to get from 78 to 86?
8.
8.
So it's going to be 95.
There you go. So you're going to add 8 to 87, which is 95. Now we're going to keep filling this in until we get a class that has 135 in it, because that's our largest number. That's how we know when to stop. That doesn't mean we have to stop at 135, but it has to have 135 in it. So you go ahead and fill in the rest of these classes, and then I'm going to call on you and have you tell me what they are. If you need to borrow a calculator, you can, obviously.
Like the normal student.
No, I'm talking about filling out the rest of this column. All the way through one that has 135 on it. So like we just did 87 through 95, so you do the next ones.
Nice.
Just on your own. yes, you're right. And like I said, you know, grab a calculator, go ahead. So Arthur, what's the next one going to be? 96 to what? Yes, to 104. So you add, you know, it's the next number, 96, and then you add 8 to 96, which is 104. Bobby, what's the next one going to be?
105, 113.
Hang on. Yeah, you might be right. Yes, you are right. Just kidding. Yes, 105 to 113. Angelo, what's the next one?
114 to 122.
Very good. What's the next one?
123 to 131.
And Fernando, the next one.
132 to 140.
And I know I can stop there because that one has the very last number that we had, which was 135. Oh, you're adding. All right. So then I just add these up. 78 to 86 are these blue ones. 80 and 81. There's just two of those. So I would put 2 right here. 87 to 95 are these purple ones. Got 15. '96 to 104 are these green ones. Got 18. 105 to 113 are the blue ones. Yeah, 7. 114 to 122. The ones with check marks, there's 6 of those. 123 to 131, just 1, and then one of these as well. To double check yourself, they said there were 50 students. So when I add up that column,
18, 15.
yep, it's 50.
33. 22.
Any questions on that? All right. I will post stuff that goes with this. But there's already that assignment from yesterday, so I'm going to be working on that until I get it posted.